The strange encounter the night was quiet. The air was cool and the small town was already asleep. A man walked along the forest path with his dog by his side. The dog's ears moved at every sound, but the man was calm. For him, this was a normal evening walk, the only time he could think clearly. The moonlight fell between the tall trees, making strange shadows on the ground. The forest looked alive, as if it was hiding secrets. The man looked up at the sky. It was clear, full of stars, brighter than usual. Something about the night felt different, but he could not explain why. The dog suddenly stopped. Its body grew stiff, tail straight, ears high. It gave a low growl. The man followed the dog's gaze. At first he saw nothing, only the deep dark between the trees. But then he heard it, a whisper. It was soft, broken, almost like the wind, yet not the wind. The words were faint but clear enough. "We were bad. Mom left us." The man froze. He looked around, his eyes searching the shadows. The whisper came again, a little stronger, almost like a child's voice. The dog barked once, sharp and loud, then fell silent. Its eyes glowed in the dim light fixed on the trees. The man felt a chill on his neck. "Who's there?" he called out. His voice echoed, but no one answered. Another whisper floated out of the darkness. We're bad. Mom left us." The man stepped forward slowly, carefully. His dog stayed close, growling low in its throat. The forest seemed to hold its breath. The usual night sounds, crickets, owls, rustling leaves, were gone. Everything was silent except for the strange voice. Then he saw them. Two small shapes stood between the trees. At first he thought they were children. They were thin, with large heads and glowing eyes. Their skin shimmered faintly under the moonlight, pale and strange, almost transparent. They looked alike, like twins. The man felt his chest tighten. He wanted to run, but his legs would not move. The dog barked again, but softer this time, as if unsure. The twins stepped closer. Their eyes were wide, full of fear. They whispered together, their voices overlapping, broken but clear. "We were bad. Mom left us." The man raised his hand slowly, trying to show he meant no harm. "It's okay," he said softly, though his heart was racing. "I'm not going to hurt you." The twins stopped moving. They looked at the dog, who tilted its head, ears flicking. For a moment everything was still. Then one of the twins spoke again, this time with a trembling voice. "She left us here, alone." The words cut through the man like a blade. He saw the pain in their eyes. They were not just strange beings from another world. They were children, lost, afraid. The dog took a step forward, sniffing the air. Then, to the man's surprise, it wagged its tail. It moved closer to the twins, its body low, friendly. The twins looked at each other, uncertain, but did not run. The man watched as the dog gently pressed its nose against one of the twins' hands. The twin pulled back at first, then slowly reached out and touched the dog's head. A small smile appeared on their face. The man felt something shift inside him. The fear began to fade, replaced by something else, curiosity, compassion. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice steady now. "Where did you come from?" The twins looked up at him. Their glowing eyes reflected the moonlight. One of them whispered, "We came from the sky." The man's breath caught. He looked up, half expecting to see something there. The stars blinked back at him, silent and cold. The forest no longer felt empty. It felt alive, as if watching. He could sense that this meeting was not an accident. Something greater was at play, something far beyond his understanding. The twins stepped closer again, their movements slow and cautious. "Will you leave us too?" one of them whispered. The question pierced his heart. He had not expected it, yet it felt heavy with meaning. He looked at the dog, who now sat calmly between them, as if it had already accepted the strangers. The man shook his head. "No," he said firmly. "I won't leave you." For the first time, the twins looked less afraid. Their shoulders relaxed, and the faint glow of their skin grew brighter. They stood side by side, still whispering words he could not fully understand, but the tone was softer now, almost hopeful. The man knew nothing would ever be the same. His quiet evening walk had turned into something extraordinary. Two strange beings stood before him, whispering secrets of pain, loss, and abandonment. Yet in their eyes he saw more than sadness. He saw the possibility of trust. The dog wagged its tail again, and the twins smiled. The forest seemed to breathe once more, as if life had returned to it. But deep inside, the man felt a shadow of unease. He could not ignore the words that had started it all. "We were bad. Mom left us. Why had their mother abandoned them? What had they done? The night no longer felt safe. It was the beginning of something strange, something dangerous, and something that would change his life forever. The twins' secret. The man stood quietly, his dog at his side. The two alien twins stared at him with wide, glowing eyes. Their voices had stopped whispering for now, but the memory of those broken words stayed in his mind. We were bad. Mom left us. He wanted to ask many questions, but the twins looked fragile, as if one wrong word could make them vanish into the shadows. He crouched down, bringing himself to their level, his voice calm and steady. "It's okay," he said. "You can talk to me. I won't hurt you." The twins glanced at each other. Their movements were mirrored, almost too perfect, like reflections. One stepped forward, then the other followed. They were trembling, their thin hands clutched together. The dog wagged its tail again, giving a small bark as if encouraging them. Slowly, one of the twins raised a hand and pointed up at the night sky. "We came from there," the child whispered. The man looked up at the stars. Countless points of light blinked above him. His chest tightened. He had always wondered what lay beyond, but now the answer was standing before him. "From the sky?" he asked softly. The twin nodded. Their eyes glowed brighter for a moment, then dimmed again. The second twin leaned closer, their voice shaky. "Not safe there. Not safe anywhere," the man frowned. "Why? What happened?" The first twin lowered their head. "Mom said, we were wrong. We were bad. She left us." The words came out heavy, full of pain. The man felt his throat tighten. How could a mother abandon her children, no matter what they were? He didn't know their story, but he knew the sadness of being unwanted. The dog pressed against the man's leg as if sensing his thoughts. Then with surprising gentleness, it stepped forward and sniffed the twins' hands again. This time both children allowed it. Their thin fingers touched the dog's fur and a faint smile appeared on their faces. The man saw it clearly now. Beneath the fear and strangeness, they were just children, lost, scared, and alone. "Tell me," he said carefully, "what did you mean when you said you were bad?" The twins' glow flickered as if his question carried weight. For a moment they said nothing, only staring into the dark forest. Then the first one whispered, "We broke things, hurt things, without meaning to." The second added, "Mom said our touch was wrong, dangerous." The man's eyes widened. He leaned forward. "Dangerous how?" The twins looked down at their hands. Their small fingers trembled. Then with a sudden flash, the ground beneath them sparked. The dirt glowed faintly, small rocks lifting for just a second before falling again. The dog barked, startled but quickly calmed when it saw the twins pull back in fear. "See?" one of them whispered. "We can't control it. Mom said we would bring danger to her, so she left us here." The forest grew silent again, as if listening. The man stared, his mind racing. Powers. These children had powers, strange and wild, like nothing he had ever seen, and they were afraid of themselves. He shook his head slowly. "That doesn't make you bad," he said firmly. "You're not bad." The twins looked at him unsure. They had heard those words before, words that promised comfort but never truly believed them. The man reached out his hand, palm open. The dog moved closer, tail wagging, as if showing the twins it was safe. After a long pause, one of the twins placed their glowing hand into his. Their touch was warm, almost electric, but not painful. The second twin joined, and for the first time the man held both of them. Their glow softened, and they whispered together, their voices trembling, "You will not leave us?" He tightened his grip gently. "No, I will not leave you." The twins' faces softened. Their eyes, once full of fear, now held a trace of hope. The dog barked happily, circling around them. For a moment it felt like a family, strange and unexpected, but real. Yet deep inside, the man felt the shadow of danger. He thought about the sparks, the floating rocks. If the twins could do that without control, what else could they do? And if their mother had left them, who else might be searching for them now? Still, he could not turn away. The night had brought him two lost souls, and he knew his life had already changed. The twins leaned close, whispering words he could barely hear. But one word stood out, chilling him. "Hunters." He froze. "Hunters? Who are they?" The twins' glow dimmed. Their voices shook. "They follow us. They want us back. They smell us. They find us." The dog's ears shot up, growling at the forest as if it too understood the danger. The man's heart pounded. He scanned the trees but saw nothing. The night was silent, but silence now felt like a warning. The twins clung to his arm. They will come soon. The man swallowed hard. He didn't know what kind of beings these hunters were, but he understood one thing clearly. If they were after the twins, then his quiet life was gone. He was now part of their story, whether he liked it or not. He looked at the twins, then at his loyal dog. He thought of running, hiding, fighting, but none of that mattered yet. What mattered was simple, keeping these children safe. He pulled them close. "Stay with me. Whatever happens, stay with me." The twins nodded, their eyes glowing faintly once more. Their whispers softened, no longer filled with despair but with something new. Hope. And in that moment, under the endless night sky, the man knew the real journey had just begun. A world of fear, the forest no longer felt calm. The night air carried tension and every sound seemed sharper. The man held the twins close as his dog stood alert, ears twitching at the smallest rustle. The twins' last words still echoed in his mind. Hunters. He tried to keep his voice steady. "Who are the hunters?" The twins glanced at each other. Their glowing eyes dimmed, and their whispers came out in broken tones. "They come from the sky. They look for us. They want to take us back. They never stop," the man frowned. "Take you back where?" The twins shook their heads, trembling. "To the dark place. To cages." The word cages struck him hard. He imagined cold metal bars, frightened children locked away, their small voices unheard. His dog growled low, as if agreeing that such a fate must never happen again. The man stood slowly, scanning the treetops. The forest was quiet, too quiet. No owls, no insects, no movement except the soft sway of branches in the wind. He felt the weight of invisible eyes, as if something far away was already watching. The twins clung tighter to him. Their glow was faint now, as though fear drained their light. "They smell us," one whispered. "Even in the dark they smell us." The man's skin prickled. He crouched lower and whispered, "Listen to me. You're safe with me tonight. But if they're coming, we need to move. We can't stay here." The dog barked once, softly, almost like agreement. The twins hesitated. Their bodies leaned toward the shadows, as if part of them wanted to vanish again. But then they looked at the man, and something in his steady gaze kept them still. He led them down the narrow path, the dog trotting ahead, sniffing at every corner. The forest stretched endless around them, and the night seemed alive with secrets. As they walked, the twins began to whisper more. Their words came in fragments, but each piece carried a story. Hunters. Wear masks. Not like us. Not like you. Masks with no faces. They move without sound, fast, always fast. They come with machines, lights that burn the sky. The man listened carefully, his stomach tight. He didn't understand everything, but he knew enough. These hunters were not human, and they were not merciful. The twins' glow flickered again, and one of them whispered, "We cannot fight them." The man looked at them, then at his dog. He knew he was only one man with no weapons, no plan, no knowledge of what lay beyond the stars. But he also knew something simple. He could not abandon these children. "Not now, then we'll hide," he said, "and we'll stay together." The dog barked softly again, wagging its tail as if to reassure them. The twins nodded, though fear still clung to their faces. As they moved deeper into the forest, the man noticed strange marks on the ground, circles burned into the dirt, trees scarred with deep cuts as though something powerful had touched them. The twins avoided looking at them, their whispers turning into a chant of fear. "Not safe here. Not safe here." The man knelt beside them. "Look at me," he said firmly. "You're safe as long as you're with me. Do you understand?" The twins hesitated, then nodded. Their glow brightened just a little, faint but hopeful. Suddenly the dog froze. Its ears shot up, body stiff. It growled at the sky. The man looked up. High above the treetops, a faint light flickered, too steady to be a star, too strange to be a plane. It hovered for a moment, then faded. But he knew what it meant. The hunters were near. The twins shivered, their whispers fast and panicked. "They see, they know. They come." The man pulled them close. His heart raced, but his voice stayed calm. "Then we need to be ready." They moved quickly now, the dog leading, the man guiding the twins over roots and stones. The forest seemed endless, each shadow deeper than the last. But he refused to stop. The whispers of the twins filled the air. Some were words he understood, Others were not. Strange sounds, almost like another language, slipped from their lips when they grew scared. The air seemed to hum with their voices, and the man wondered if their fear itself carried power. Finally, they reached a hollow in the ground. Where the earth dipped beneath a cluster of rocks and thick roots, the man led them inside. It was small, hidden and dark, just enough to conceal them for the night. The dog curled near the entrance, eyes glowing faint in the dark, guarding. The man sat with the twins pressed close against him. He could feel their trembling, hear their small breaths. "Tell me," he whispered, "why do they want you back?" The twins were silent for a long time. Then one finally whispered, "Because of what we are." The other added, voice breaking, "Because of what we can do." The man thought of the sparks, the floating rocks, the glow of their skin. He thought of the fear in their eyes whenever they spoke of their mother. These were not just abandoned children. They were something more, something the world might not be ready for. The forest outside was still silent, but silence no longer brought peace. It was the silence before a storm. The man placed an arm around the twins, pulling them close. "Whatever you are," he said quietly, "you're not alone anymore." The twins looked up at him. Their glow brightened just slightly, and for a moment the fear in their eyes softened. But deep in the night sky, unseen above the trees, a faint hum stirred. Machines were moving. The hunters were already on their way, a bond of hope. The hollow under the rocks was quiet. The man sat with his back against the rough wall, his dog lying near the entrance, ears sharp, eyes glowing faint in the dark. The twins leaned close to him, their small frames trembling less now but still restless. Their faint glow filled the space with a soft silver light, as if the night itself breathed around them. For the first time since meeting them, the man felt the fear begin to ease. The silence of the forest was heavy, but in the shelter he felt a fragile calm. He pulled his backpack closer and unzipped it. Inside he had a few things: an old flashlight, a bottle of water, and some food he always carried for his walks. The dog lifted its head as he pulled out a pack of crackers and a piece of dried meat. The animal wagged its tail, but the man first looked at the twins. "Here," he said softly, holding out the food. The twins tilted their heads, confused at first. One reached out with trembling fingers and took the cracker. They sniffed it, then placed it against their lips. Their eyes widened. The second twin quickly followed, nibbling the dried meat carefully as if it might vanish. The man smiled faintly. "It's not much, but it's safe." The twins chewed slowly, and for the first time since he had seen them, a sound escaped their lips that was not a whisper of fear, a giggle, light, small, and almost unreal. The dog barked once softly and wagged its tail again, circling the little space with excitement. The man chuckled quietly. He had forgotten what such a simple sound, children laughing, could do. It melted the weight in his chest, replacing fear with something warmer. "You like it?" he asked. The twins nodded quickly, their glow brighter now. One of them reached toward the dog, offering the last piece of cracker. The animal sniffed it, licked their hand, and then sat happily beside them. The twins looked at each other with wide eyes, then back at the man. Their voices came together, soft but full of wonder. "He likes us. He does," the man said. "He likes everyone who's kind." For a moment, they all sat together in silence, the forest outside forgotten. It was as though the small cave had become its own world, one built not from fear but from trust. The man studied the twins as they shared the last of the food. Their movements were synchronized, almost as if one mind guided both bodies. But their eyes, those glowing eyes, were filled with something human. Sadness, yes, but also hope. He leaned forward. "Tell me your names." The twins looked at each other, hesitating. Then one whispered, "We don't have names." The words hit him harder than he expected. No names. No identity beyond being unwanted, beyond whispers of being bad. He shook his head slowly. "Everyone deserves a name." The dog barked softly again, almost as if in agreement. The twins giggled once more. Then, "Will you give us names?" one asked shyly. The man hesitated. He had never thought about such a thing. But as he looked at their glowing faces, two fragile beings who had been told they were wrong, he felt the weight of the moment. "All right," he said at last. "We'll find names for you." The twins' glow shimmered with excitement, soft pulses of light moving across their skin. They leaned closer, their fear forgotten for now. Outside, the forest rustled faintly, but inside, the bond was growing. The man took a deep breath. "You're not bad. Whatever your mother told you, whatever happened, it doesn't matter here. What matters is this: you're not alone anymore." The twins stared at him. For a long moment, they said nothing. Then both reached out, their small glowing hands pressing against his. "We believe you," they whispered together. His chest tightened. He wasn't sure how long he could protect them, not with unknown hunters in the sky, but for now, in this moment, he had given them something real, a promise. The dog shifted, ears perking. The man glanced at the entrance of the hollow. The night was still dark and silent, but he knew danger lingered. Still, when he looked back at the twins, he saw their faint smiles, their glow brightened by trust, and he felt stronger. The twins began to whisper softly again. Not words of fear this time, but soft sounds, almost like a lullaby. Their voices blended, rising and falling together, filling the hollow with a strange, soothing hum. The dog curled closer, resting its head on one of their laps. The man closed his eyes for a moment, listening. The hum was not just sound, it was energy. The air seemed warmer, lighter. He realized that maybe this was their gift too. Not just sparks and strange powers, but the ability to soothe, to heal. He opened his eyes again and whispered, "You're not dangerous. You're special." The twins smiled, their glow softening like moonlight on water. For the first time, they did not whisper the words of abandonment. They whispered something new. Hope. The man felt the words settle deep inside him. Hope. That was what they needed to hold on to, no matter what was coming. Outside, the night stretched on. Somewhere far above, machines moved in silence. But in the hollow, for a brief and fragile moment, there was peace. A man, his loyal dog, and two lost children from the stars, bound together by something stronger than fear. A bond of hope. The hunters arrive. The hollow under the rocks no longer felt safe. The night had grown heavy, the silence too deep. The man's dog lifted its head, ears twitching, growling low at the forest outside. Something was coming. The man tensed. He had felt this silence before. A silence that did not belong to nature but to something hunting. He glanced at the twins. They were pressed against each other, their glow faint, their eyes wide. "They're here," one whispered. "They've found us," the other finished. The man's pulse quickened. "Stay close," he whispered back. The dog barked sharply, then froze, staring into the darkness beyond the hollow. The man crawled forward, peering through the gaps in the rocks. At first he saw nothing but trees and shadows. Then a flicker of light, not fire, not stars. Artificial. Cold. A thin beam of blue swept across the forest, cutting through branches, leaving a faint shimmer where it touched. Another followed, moving slowly, carefully, as though scanning. The man's stomach sank. The hunters, the twins, clutched his arm. Their whispers shook. "They see everything. They smell us." "Quiet," the man whispered back. "Don't move." The beams of light grew closer, weaving between the trees. Then came the sound, a low hum, metallic, steady, vibrating through the ground. The dog whimpered softly but held its ground. Shapes emerged between the trees. Tall, slender figures taller than any human. Their bodies shimmered with dark armor, smooth and faceless like shadows given form. Masks covered where faces should be, blank, reflective, glowing faintly at the edges. The man's breath caught. They moved with no sound, not even the crunch of leaves underfoot. The twins pressed closer. "Hunters," they whispered. Always hunters. The man knew hiding would not last. The beams of light crept closer, sweeping the ground, scanning rocks and roots. One beam moved across the hollow's entrance. He held his breath, praying the shadows would conceal them. The light paused, flickered, then shifted away. For a moment, relief washed over him. Then the hum grew louder. One of the tall figures raised a strange device, glowing red at its center. The ground beneath it rippled as if heat rose from nowhere. The dog barked furiously now, the sound echoing in the hollow. The hunters turned. The man's heart pounded. He grabbed the twins' hands.
"Run," he hissed. "Now!"
They scrambled out of the hollow, the dog leaping ahead, teeth bared. The forest exploded into chaos. Beams of light shot across the trees, tearing through branches, burning bark black. The man ducked low, pulling the twins behind thick trunks. The hunters followed, their long strides unnaturally fast, their lights sweeping like search engines across the ground. "Keep moving," the man shouted. The dog darted left, barking wildly, drawing the beams toward itself. For a moment, the hunter's focus shifted. The man used the chance to drag the twins deeper into the forest, weaving between roots and stones. The air crackled. A beam of light slammed into a tree beside him, the bark hissing as it burned. The man shielded the twins with his body. Faster. The twins stumbled but kept moving. Their glow brightened as fear surged through them. Suddenly, small rocks along the path lifted into the air, floating, spinning wildly. The man stared in shock but didn't stop. Branches snapped behind them. The hunters were closing in. The dog reappeared, teeth snapping at the ankles of one tall figure. The hunter turned, swinging its device. A flash of blue light struck the ground where the dog had stood a second before. Dirt exploded into the air. "Here," the man shouted, pulling the twins toward a slope. They slid down the dirt, crashing into ferns at the bottom. The hunter's beams cut across the slope, scorching lines into the earth. The man coughed, pulling the twins upright. His chest ached, but he forced his body forward. The twins cried out, their voices overlapping, rising like a strange echo in the night. The ground trembled under their feet. The hunters paused. For the first time, they hesitated. The twins' glow flared, brighter than ever before. Sparks of light burst from their hands, striking the trees around them. Leaves ignited, air crackled with static. The hunters raised their devices, but the sudden blast of energy pushed them back a step. The man stared in shock. He had seen the twins spark before, but never like this. They were more powerful than they realized. "Don't stop," he urged. "Keep moving." The twins stumbled, drained already, but their glow lingered. The dog barked furiously, snapping at shadows, guiding them forward. Finally, they broke through the thickest part of the forest into a clearing. Moonlight washed over the grass, silver and cold. The man collapsed to his knees, panting. The twins clung to him, shaking, their glow dimming again. Behind them, the forest hummed with the sound of machines. The hunters were still there, still searching. But for now, they had space. The man looked at the twins. Their eyes were wide, frightened, but alive. He brushed dirt from their faces, his voice steady despite his pounding heart. "You're not bad," he said firmly. "What you just did, that saved us." The twins shook their heads weakly. "Too strong. Too dangerous." "No," he said, gripping their shoulders. "You're not dangerous, they are. And we'll stop them." The dog pressed close, tail wagging weakly, tongue lolling, loyal even in fear. The man gazed at the trees where the hunters lingered, shadows moving, lights flickering. He knew they would not stop. They would come again, stronger. But tonight they had survived. He pulled the twins closer, his voice calm but firm. "We'll keep fighting together, and we won't let them take you." The twins whispered softly, almost like a vow. "Together." The clearing fell silent again, but not with peace. It was the silence before another storm. The hunters had arrived, and they would not leave. The sacrifice. The clearing held its silence for only a breath. Then the forest behind them roared alive with sound. Machines humming, branches snapping, lights tearing through the dark. The hunters were moving again, closing in fast. The man's chest tightened. His dog barked furiously, circling, ready to defend. The twins clung to his arms, their glow faint, drained from the burst of power they had used before. "We can't fight again," one whispered, trembling. "We're too weak," the other added. The man pulled them close. "Then we run. Stay with me. Don't let go." He pushed them forward, his dog darting ahead. The ground shook with each step of the hunters, their blank masks glowing faint as beams swept the clearing. "Go," he shouted. They sprinted into the trees, crashing through ferns, tripping over roots. Behind them, beams of cold blue carved lines across the night, cutting down branches, burning the earth. The twins stumbled, but the man lifted them by their arms, dragging them forward. His lungs burned, his legs screamed, but he didn't stop. The dog darted left, barking wildly, trying to draw the hunter's attention. One beam swerved, chasing it. The man's heart lurched. "Stay with me," he shouted after the dog, but the animal didn't return. Its barks echoed deeper into the forest, pulling one of the hunters away. The man clenched his jaw. His loyal friend had made the choice for them. The ground shook again. Another beam of light shot past, grazing so close that the air burned his skin. The twins screamed, their glow flaring weakly in panic. The man pushed harder, shoving them down a slope. They tumbled together, crashing into a dry creek bed. He landed hard, pain shooting through his ribs, but he pulled the twins up. "Keep moving." They scrambled forward. Water long gone from the creek, but mud still slick beneath their feet. The walls of earth on either side gave them cover, but the hunter's light swept above, searching. The man heard the hum growing louder, the metallic steps closing in. He knew they couldn't outrun them forever. He stopped, chest heaving, eyes darting. Then he saw it, an old fallen tree wedged across the creek bed, hollow inside. He pushed the twins toward it. "Hide here. Don't come out until I return." The twins shook their heads, tears in their glowing eyes. "No, you'll leave us too." He gripped their shoulders. "I won't leave you, but I need to make them follow me. Do you understand? If they find you, it's over. Let me do this." The twins clung to him, their whispers desperate. "No, don't go. Don't leave." The dog reappeared, panting, fur singed but alive. It barked once, sharp, standing between the man and the hunter's lights. Loyal. Brave. The man felt his chest ache. He placed the twins inside the hollow, pulling branches across the entrance to hide them. "Stay quiet. Trust me." The twins' hands reached out, glowing faint against his. "Come back," they whispered together. He nodded once, then turned. His dog barked again, and together they ran down the creek bed, away from the hollow. The hunters followed. Beams of light cut across the walls, scorching earth. The man weaved left and right, stumbling, heart hammering. His dog ran beside him, barking, snarling, forcing the hunters to track both of them. The hum grew louder. A blast of light struck the ground ahead, exploding dirt into the air. He shielded his face, coughing, pushing forward blindly. Another beam seared past, so close his arm burned. The dog leapt at the source, jaws snapping at one hunter's leg. Sparks flew as its armor cracked, but the creature swung its device, sending the animal tumbling into the dirt. "No," the man shouted. He grabbed a rock and hurled it with all his strength. It struck the hunter's mask, cracking it. The creature stumbled, its hum faltering. The man didn't stop. He scooped up his dog, bleeding but alive, and staggered forward. Another hunter appeared ahead, blocking the path. Its mask glowed red, its device raised. The man's body screamed with exhaustion, but he forced himself to stand tall. If this was the end, he would not fall running. He set the dog down gently. "Stay." The hunter advanced, its faceless mask reflecting his image. Behind it, the second figure recovered, moving closer. The man looked back once toward the hollow he had left behind. The twins were hidden there, waiting, believing in him. He clenched his fists. "If you want them," he growled, "you'll have to go through me." The hunters raised their weapons, and then, light, a surge of glowing energy ripped through the air. Sparks burst from the ground, trees shaking violently. The hunters staggered, their beams scattering. The man turned. The twins stood at the edge of the creek bed, their glow burning brighter than ever. Their small bodies shook, but their eyes were fierce. "We said, together," they whispered. Their hands rose, and a wave of force burst forward, slamming into the hunters. The creatures stumbled back, armor cracking, masks shattering. The air roared with power. The man shielded his eyes, stunned. The twins' glow filled the night, burning like stars fallen to earth. When the light faded, the hunters were gone, pushed back into the shadows of the forest. The twins collapsed, their glow dimming. The man ran to them, catching their small bodies before they hit the ground. His dog limped beside him, pressing close. He held the twins against his chest, their breath shallow but steady. "You're safe," he whispered. "You saved us all." The twins stirred weakly, their voices faint. "We're not bad." "Not bad." "No," the man said firmly, tears in his eyes. "You're not bad. You're brave." The dog wagged its tail once, tired but alive. The night was still again. The hunters were gone for now. But the man knew this fight was far from over. He looked at the twins, glowing faint in his arms, and whispered to himself, "We'll keep going, no matter what it costs," because sacrifice had been made, and more might come, a new beginning. The forest was quiet again, but it was not the calm of peace. It was the silence after a storm, when the air still trembles with what has passed. The man knelt in the dry creek bed, holding the twins in his arms. Their glow was faint now, like fading embers, but their small breaths proved they were alive. His dog leaned against him, fur scorched, eyes tired but loyal. He brushed dirt from the twins' faces, whispering, "You're safe. You did it. You sent them away." The twins stirred weakly. Their eyes fluttered open, pale light flickering inside. They looked at him with fragile hope. "We not bad?" He shook his head firmly, his voice steady. "No, you're not bad. You're children, and you're mine to protect now." The twins' lips trembled. For the first time, they whispered a word without fear. "Family." The man's chest tightened. He had not expected that word, but it felt true. The bond formed in whispers, fear, and struggle was now stronger than blood. The dog wagged its tail once, then curled against the twins, letting them rest against its warm body. The man sat back, scanning the forest. The hunters were gone, pushed back by the twins' power, but he knew it was not the end. They would return. They always would. Still, for now, there was quiet. And in that quiet, he allowed himself a rare thing, hope. When dawn began to touch the sky, the forest slowly woke. Birds returned with cautious songs. A breeze moved through the trees, carrying the scent of dew and earth. The man stood, lifting the twins gently onto his back. "Come on," he murmured. "We need to move before they come again." The dog trotted beside him as he carried the children out of the creek bed. Step by step, they climbed back into the forest, following no path but their own. The twins whispered softly, not in fear but in wonder. They looked at the light breaking between the trees, their glow flickering with it. One whispered, "It is beautiful." The man nodded. "Yes, it is." For the first time, they were not talking about what they had lost or what hunted them. They were seeing the world as it was, green, alive, waiting. They traveled until the sun rose higher. At last the man stopped near a quiet meadow. The grass was long, the flowers bright with morning light. The air smelled sweet. "This will do," he said softly, setting the twins down on the grass. The dog collapsed beside them, panting but happy. The twins lay against the earth, their glow slowly returning. They closed their eyes, soaking in the warmth of the sun. The man sat with them, his body aching but his spirit steadier than before. He looked at them both and said, "From now on, you're not alone. I don't care what your mother said. I don't care what the hunters want. You belong here with us." The twins opened their eyes. Their glow shimmered soft but steady. One whispered, "We are not bad." The other finished, "We are good." He smiled faintly. "Yes, you are good." The dog barked once as if agreeing, then rolled onto its back paws in the air. The twins giggled, a sound like bells in the open meadow. The man leaned back on the grass, staring at the sky. He thought of how everything had changed in one night. He had gone from a quiet life to carrying the weight of 2 children from the stars. Yet for the first time in years, he felt purpose. As the sun rose higher, the twins whispered something new. "We dreamed of this," one said. "Of someone who would not leave," the other added. Their words were soft but powerful. The man looked at them, his voice steady. "I won't leave you, not now. Not ever." The twins reached out, their glowing hands resting against his. The bond was sealed, stronger than fear, stronger than loss. The dog pressed against them all, tail thumping weakly against the grass. Together they formed something the hunters could never break, family born not of blood but of choice. But as the day warmed, the man's eyes kept drifting to the horizon. He knew this peace would not last. The hunters had been driven back, not destroyed. They would come again with more power, more machines. He looked at the twins. Fragile, innocent, yet holding a force inside them that even the hunters feared. Their mother had left them because of it. But he would not. He would teach them, guide them, help them learn control. Because he understood now, this was not only about survival. It was about giving them a future. That night, as stars returned to the sky, the twins sat close beside him. Their glow mixed with the dog's steady breaths, wrapping the meadow in silver light. They looked up at the sky, then at him. Together they whispered, "Mom was wrong. We are not bad. We have hope." The man placed an arm around them. "Yes," he said quietly. "You have hope. And as long as I live, no one will take it from you." The twins smiled, their glow stronger now than ever. The dog barked softly as if promising the same. The forest around them was alive again, but beyond the trees, the night still carried hidden dangers. Machines might stir, hunters might rise, but here, under the stars, a man, his dog, and 2 children from the sky had found something stronger than fear. Not just survival, not just escape, a new beginning.